Today, we got a tale of adventure with my good friend Charlie Johnson here in Glacier National Park. Grizzly bears, bighorn sheep, and an unfortunate pepper spraying.
Yeah, unfortunately I was the victim.
Well, hey everyone, it's Hudson. I'm here in Glacier National Park where David Archer, Rick LePage, and I have been running a really wonderful workshop. And I've got my good friend Charlie Johnson with me.
Yeah, been a great trip.
Charlie is a frequent workshop cook. How many workshops have you been on now?
Like 10.
We have a good time. Charlie lives on the southern Oregon coast, and we get to collaborate even sometimes not in workshops. And you know, you become one of my good buddies.
Yeah, it's great.
One of my best friends. And we were out last night up on the Highline Trail with a group of workshop participants. I think there were 9 of us total.
Yep.
We had David Archer, a big group of fun people out hiking the Highline Trail, which is this real beautiful cliff line trail. I mean, it's a little exposed. Charlie Mosier overcame a little fear of heights in the whole process. And I'm super proud of him. He walked that trail with a plum, was standing out on the edge photographing things.
I had no idea he had a fear of heights.
Yeah, exactly. He told me afterwards. I was super proud of him. But it's a good trail. It's a trail that if you're in Glacier National Park, it's worth walking out on unless you have an overwhelming fear of heights. You have spectacular views. And typically, we don't get a ton of wildlife view, maybe distant goats or distant sheep when I've been on this trail in the past. So I told people maybe bring a 100 to 400, bring a wide angle, you know, maybe a 24 to 120, 100 to 400. We're gonna go for a hike. And you know, starting off where we park, there's a pair of mountain goats with babies.
Yeah, very beautiful.
Very beautiful. And then a bighorn sheep that posed for us with the mountain backdrop. And then we hike down into the trail and we're like, well, that was cool. And then there's bighorn sheep coming down the trail.
Yeah.
And I may have to throw in a couple of David Archer's pictures of the bighorns from that section. Charlie and I and another group were a little further back along the trail, and we were looking back, and we have more distant views of David photographing the sheep and the sheep around David and some of the other folks in the workshop. And then we noticed that the sheep were sort of stopped, staring down past the trail. And the trail runs parallel to the Going to the Sun Highway above it. It's a place that's a beautiful place to photograph, the Going to the Sun Highway and Logan Pass. And you know, we're looking at these sheep staring down at the road, and we're like, well, they wouldn't be afraid to cross the road. They do this all the time.
Yeah.
And
they were intent on something.
They were like intent on something. What did we see?
It was a grizzly.
Grizzly bear down below the road, kind of roaming through the valley. And of course, I'm like, well, I didn't bring my 800 lens. And I even told, you know, Rick LePage told Bob Blair, oh yeah, you don't need your 800. And Rick's like, Bob was like, get on the radio and tell Rick, I'd like my 800 now, because Rick was back with another group that didn't feel like doing the big high trail. So we've got this grizzly bear down below us, and there's bighorn sheep, and we're photographing, we're all having a good time. And then suddenly, you know, it's like the grizzly's coming up toward the road.
Yeah.
The sheep are all acting a little more nervous, maybe going the other way past us to get away. And the thing of it is that where you come down through a little narrow, beautiful meadowed valley, little mountain kind of gully, with scrubby trees and willows, and it's narrow, and then the trail turns out and cuts into the cliff face as it comes out of Logan Pass and goes along the mountain above the Going to the Sun Highway. Well, it's narrow in there, and that's where the bear chose to go up, and that's the only way for us to get off the Highline Trail.
It was a one-way trip.
Yeah, and meanwhile, we had radioed the rest of the workshop group that didn't come along, and they were further down the road in El Jefe, the Sprinter van, and they'd gotten out and they're photographing with long lenses, and they can see us on the Highline Trail, and they can see the bear, and I hear Rick saying, you know, the bear is heading your way. And we all, you know, we moved a little bit closer. I said, let's get all together as a group. Let's all get close together as a group. And
sensible.
Sensible. Well, and it's tougher to think about attacking 9 people than a single straggler. So we all got to where we were essentially touching, and I went in front and I got the bear spray out, and as we approached, I said, well, you know, I'll pull the safety off this thing. Charlie, you see, Charlie just moved.
Yeah, I'm ready to back up.
He's ready to get out of my way right now. I pulled the safety off as we went around the corner, you know, and we're literally, you know, Bob Blair's from Montana. He's looking up slope, I'm looking down slope, I'm going in front. You know, I gave David Archer the radio to communicate with Rick because I've got my 100 to 400 on my side and the bear spray, and we're going through the woods, and we come into the canyon, and we're moving slowly, everybody all together as a group. David, you might just tell Rick what we're doing since he can't see us anymore. Tell him I got spray out, safety off.
Hudson's got the bear spray out with the safety off just to be sure, and we're walking tightly in a group back down the path, heading into the woods.
You're going back to the visitor center?
Yep.
Yeah, we're on the way.
Turn around and work my way up there.
Bear! There we go. Hey, Bear! Everybody stay tight with me. I heard someone on the road yell bear. So, anybody, let's we're not in a good spot for spotting. No, we're not in a good spot for spotting. But there's
being spotted.
There's sheep right there. They're acting wary.
They're looking this way.
They're looking this way. That's great. Everybody tight?
Yep.
All right. Everybody tight. Hey, Bear. All right. Hey, Bear. We're people here. There's a lot of us.
Don't smell anything funky.
I got some
Steve. He said tight, not intimate.
I mean, I don't think there's. You tell me what you think about the odds of a grizzly bear attacking a group of 9 people. Right
I
there.
think it's very slim, but I guess it's better to be cautious than not. So.
Better to be cautious for sure. I'm gonna put. Well, you know what? We'll put the safety back on. There it is. Back on. All right. But I didn't have it on. I didn't do that, and we got into that little canyon. And we got far enough through the woods where we were in a pretty secure position, no trees around us, and we're scanning around and we see another group of bighorn sheep looking nervous down in the valley. And then you know, they started moving. I think they had the smell.
Mm-hmm.
But then
they sensed there was something.
They sensed there was something. And so we're all sort of staying still and cautious. And then I thought they looked attractive, and so I took the canister of bear spray and tucked it onto my left finger and went to grab my lens, and Charlie was standing. Maybe you were turned.
Yeah, well, something like this.
And I reached up for my lens, and the hood of my 100 to 400 just bumped the edge of that trigger, and it blasted into Charlie's sleeve. There's still a little bit of a stain, but it, and luckily the wind was blowing like it is here, and we were sort of in the front of the group, and it blew it straight away.
Yeah, very fortuitous.
Very fortuitous. So, you know, I learned a huge lesson. First of all, I don't think you should ever take it cavalierly when the safety's off one of these canisters. We got very, very lucky. I will never do that again. Secondly, I think it's fine to hold it and be able to pop that and spray. I don't think you need to take the safety off, you know. So yeah, we'll do more training when we're doing workshops based on our own experience. And then the other thing to do is if it gets on your clothing, don't do like I did. I poured a water bottle over Charlie's arm, worried about staining his jacket, and then rubbed at it with my fingers. And I still can't touch my eye or my face, and I've washed my hands 20 times, taken a shower, gone through 3 washcloths. I'm touching my other hand, the area under my wedding band just stung like mad for the first half an hour I was trying to go to sleep. You know, I washed my hand with a washcloth, and then the soap from the washcloth got on my other hand, and it got under that ring, and it's super tender there. The whole back of my hands were burning. Yeah, this stuff does not come off easily, but you know, it's good to have with you. It's good to keep the safety on. And it's good to have these kinds of adventures with friends in the woods.
Yeah, and the rest of the group didn't want my coat in the front of the van either, so I had to jettison it.
It's, you know.
But it seems to be fine now. So
I think it's all kind of
good.
added to the workshop lore.
Yep.
You know, one of my favorite moments was when we were at breakfast this morning, and we're staying in the St. Mary's Hotel and Lodge, and everybody's eating at the same spot, and we came in, and they knew we were part of the photography workshop because the other people had been talking to them, and the waitress Ariel says, "Now, do you guys know the guy who pepper sprayed the other guy?" I'm like, okay. The waitress at the lodge knows about it.
So word gets around.
Word gets around. But you forgave me.
I did. I did.
I
It's
apologized
fine.
about 100 times anyway, but yeah.
It's all good.
It's all good. All right. So good times, good times. We've been having a ton of fun here in Glacier. There's been
For sure.
great landscape, great adventure, lots of wildlife. And, despite pepper spraying a friend, it's all just been a pretty good time. And so, look forward to more content from Glacier. We're going to have a big office hours in early August. I can't remember the exact date, but you can sign up for that over at hudsonhenry.com/office hours or click that link. We'll be talking about questions that you might have about anything photographic. Big free-for-all get-together meeting. David, Rick, Darren, Woody, and I, and we'll take your questions. So sign up. You can do that on YouTube Live or on Zoom. When you sign up, you can choose the platform you'd like to participate with and leave us a question for us to take while we're doing it. So, all right, everybody. I hope you're all staying safe. Not pepper spraying your friends. Staying creative. And we'll see you next week.
All
Thanks,
right.
man. This has been a blast.
Yeah, it's been great.